Thank you for joining Redline Solutions Temperature Screening Webinar. The goal today and the agenda is quite simple. We want to introduce you to technology in temperature screening, demonstrate how effective it is, how accurate the product is, and how it can help you take temperatures of your visitors and employees in a safe manner and have reports, if required, to track those employees and those temperature readings. The product that we demonstrate today is backed up by over 30 years of security product technology, deployed in Fortune 500 companies around the world. Has 14 years specifically for biometrics. The technology is proven. It has a large install base and is being used day in and day out by major corporations to screen temperatures for their employees and visitors. The product itself, 3-year warranty on the product. Others in the market, this is 2 years more because of technology and the fact that we have a large footprint and we have an established book of business in the technology field. 24/7 client services support. Why this is important is because if we earn your project and we have the opportunity to provide technology to screen your employees, a client services group team member will contact you direct, will have pertinent information with regards to documents, installation, and scheduling a time to make sure that out of the box to deployment that you are satisfied with the product and you are effectively screening employees and visitors immediately. If for some reason you have a question, 24/7 client services group team members are available to answer those questions. Quite important in today's environment to have a sound technology and a proven track record behind the product itself. It's a multi-device deployment. We'll demonstrate what this device can do and all the different features and benefits for the product itself. You can add software to run reports. We'll demonstrate that. It can also be used as an access control and temperature reader. It can interface into automatic doors. It has a standard output on the device itself that interfaces into those products very easily. At the end of the day, if you're using manual temperature screening devices now, we completely understand this. This is a technology that was used over the last 2 months. As the pandemic has grown, we see that everybody is moving to technology to provide non-contactless use and using technology to screen employees and visitors. What does the device do? It is a temperature screening device as well as more. It is very accurate. The technology and the AI that we built into our camera solution will be demonstrated in the demo that's going to be occurring here shortly. 0.6 degrees. We see products on the market that are lesser cost, unknown, offshore, no customer service. Again, a price-driven market. You're being inundated by information. What's important is that the tested units in our facility, we see 1 degree to 1.6 degrees off in its accuracy. During a pandemic and part of your temperature screening device, you want the most accurate temperature because this could mean the difference between a good read and an exception read, which is over temperature. Our product is very accurate in those device readings. 18 to 22 inches will demonstrate why this is important for that accuracy. Very quick 1 to 2 second scan. As we see employees go through a few times, that cuts in half so you can read a lot of people in a short amount of time with an accurate reading. The device not only takes temperature, but it has face and palm recognition. We'll demonstrate why this is important moving forward. If you want to implement a pandemic plan that has mask, we can do mask or no mask readings on the device itself. We'll talk about our dual camera, our IR and our VL camera, the technology built in between that. And again, it can interface into locker solutions, key management systems, as well as access control devices. The CDC and FDA now have guidelines on technology and temperature screening devices. These guidelines are quite clear. This is an effective tool. It can be deployed and it has very reliable technology based on the manufacturer's quality and technology that they offer in today's marketplace. The product is not a medical device. The temperature is not used in a medical doctor's office to determine some type of illness, but is an effective tool, very accurate tool, in immediately capturing a temperature of someone trying to enter your facility. It is not a catch-all. but it is part of the pandemic plan that you might deploy today once using this technology. For example, we have one client that when somebody reads over temperature, an exception, part of their pandemic plan and part of their communication package to their employees is that they must immediately go home, check in with the supervisor, go to a testing site, have a negative reading, and quarantine for 2 weeks. Now, this might not be the measurement or the procedure that you deploy, but this is one item using technology. So it's not a catch-all, but it's part of your pandemic plan. And it really is the first step in reading accurately temperatures. The device is very simple to set up. We offer 2 different modes. Mode 1 is a standalone reader with no software. What that means is, think of an iPhone. You unpack the iPhone, you charge it, and then you go to settings and you set your settings the way that you would prefer your phone to operate. This is the device that comes with a power supply. Think of it as a laptop power source that you plug into the wall, plug into the device, go to settings on the screen, and now you can set your temperature range, your date, mask or no mask. You will see in this picture that there are prompts on the screen itself, as well as the demo that we're going to provide. It will provide audible, it will provide visual, and it will provide text on the screen itself that tells the person immediately if they've read normal or exception. What you do with that information is on site, it's contained within that area. If you do not have an attendant, you can add LEDs at a different location. Or if you do have an attendant, they do not need to be by the technology itself. They will hear that information provided locally, and they can react again according to your pandemic plan. Screens are available in 5 and 8 inch. 8-inch seems to be the most popular. Again, think of a mini iPad. The next step is if you're doing manual temperatures now and you're having somebody write down information, we can eliminate that process via software. The software itself is very simple, resides on your network. You own the software. It's protected behind your firewall. No third party or us can access your software itself. You own it, no monthly licensing fees, very simple to use and deploy. It can detect the device. It can have a pop-up on screen if somebody has the software residing on their laptop or their workspace. It can send email alerts. You can run reports by device, by person, by day, by time. We'll demonstrate how easy it is to use using software. Network connections are quite simple. PoE, Wi-Fi, or Cat5 will put the device on the network. Again, it's behind your firewall. It's your software. It's all protected. No third party or us have access to your software itself. Here's an example of a report that's very useful. We have a large administration, Fortune 500 company that in their state, they're looking at contact tracing. This is a contact auditing report that they created. As you can see, there's an exception with one of the users. What they want to know is who are the 4 or 5 users before and after this person who read above temperature. What they do with that information is the next time those individuals read through the device itself, they go back into the audit trail and see if their temperatures are remaining stable or if there's a tick up in temperature. If there's a tick up in temperature, they pull them aside, ask them how they're feeling, if they've had any contact with anybody who's contracted COVID, and ask questions as a preventative means with those individuals that might have been in contact with somebody who read exception. Very useful report. The device itself, again, mode 1, standalone, program on the screen. Mode 2, same device, add software. Third, you can integrate into access control existing at your site. The information it sends, once the temperature is read, if it's within range, it will send a 26-bit stream of information called WEGAN to your controller and your access control software. And if you're allowed and have permission to enter the facility, it will not only take your temperature and record that via our software, but it will now allow you to enter your facility. If you're above temperature, and you have a restriction, it will not allow you to enter the facility, and it will send those alerts to our software that can generate emails. Dual purpose, access control integration built in to every device we sell, whether 8-inch or 5-inch. One of the solutions that we provided via our software and hardware is an integration of a printer. This is used in warehouses or large facilities where they're scanning multiple people and lots of visitors. They want to have a visual indicator of anybody walking in their offices or warehouse that they have gone through the screening process. If you go through the screening process and you're within range, good temperature, it'll print out a label. It's customizable, could say date and time, and your logo of your company, and a quick visual indicator showing that they have gone through the screening process. If you have an exception, the label can print out, call HR, please send a text to this information, and then at that point, they would not enter your facility. If integrated in the software, you would also get that pop-up alerts, and if you're operating in standalone mode, you're going to get the on-site alerts. But if you don't have an attendant on-site in standalone mode, if anybody's walking around your facility does not have a sticker on them, you need to go back and have them do a temperature screening at the device. Very easy, quick, and effective manner to see who has screened or not screened. Your IT department is going to be an integral part, someone who's handling your software. They're going to want to know that the network is encrypted and it's secure. These are some of the items that we have chosen to deploy within the software and the network to make sure it's encrypted, to make sure it's safe, no third-party access, information is stored locally, and you control that security. And again, PoE, Wi-Fi, or Cat5 can be implemented if you're deploying software and using the device itself. A couple of frequently asked questions, 5 or 8-inch screens. Yes, think of it as a small iPhone or the iPhone X, different sizes, different visuals. Again, the 8-inch seems to be the most popular in today's environment. It does offer facial recognition and biometrics, palm and face, that can be used to screen temperatures, capture images of employees, and or integrate into your access control device. There is privacy built into the system. We'll talk about that privacy in a moment. We talked about one person per device. The importance of that is you're getting the most accurate of 1,000 points that we measure. That is very quick, 1 to 2 seconds, again, cuts in half after it's been deployed and used multiple times. The reason why we do 18 and 22 inches is to provide that accuracy. This is a part of your pandemic plan, and you want the most accurate temperature at the device and no variances, which you'll see with other products that are flooding the market today. We'll talk about privacy concerns, but yes, you have privacy on the software to protect your employees. And there's multiple alarms. There's on-site alarms via the device. There's commands. You can integrate a strobe light for visual. In the software, there's alarm emails as well as pop-up screens, and you have live access to the software and the device at any time you choose to review the software and the audit trail. You can set temperatures. You can set Fahrenheit and Celsius, completely non-contactless, very easy to clean. One thing we do want to note, outdoor environments is a non-exception. The extreme heat or cold and direct sunlight does impact the temperature screening device. We have one produce company that is using it in an outside environment, but they've created a tent or an area that they can check in their employees, and they control that environment externally. So highly suggested that you have a controlled environment. We work with many produce firms, vineyards, and what they're doing now is rerouting how their employees typically enter their facilities to a checkpoint during the pandemic as part of their plan. The live demo today that we're going to display the unit is going to go over the device features and benefits, the temperature screening review, standalone mode versus software mode, and dashboards and reporting tools. Please enjoy the demo. We feel it's going to be important information, and you're going to make good decisions after seeing this demo.
The device that I'm speaking to you through right now is our 8-inch temperature screening device. We also have a 5-inch version of this same device. On this unit, we're going to see a thermal imaging camera up at the top. We have 2 lights for lighting up the subject in poor lighting conditions. We've got our 2 infrared sensors. Those display about 1,000 reference points of temperature screening. And then we have our 2 facial cameras on the front, as well as our touchscreen and a speaker along the bottom for audible enunciations. Additionally, on the back, we have some dry contacts as well as some Wiegand input-output interfacing. So we can connect directly to an existing card access system, and we can lock and unlock doors based on a temperature reading. And in addition to that, we have the dry contacts that can light up the LED lights that you see here based on a pass or fail scenario. So we would get blue for pass and yellow for fail. And you'll see that throughout the demo. In addition to this reader being used as a standalone system, we can also have it attached later on should you want to upgrade your implementation. We can always add the software later and network them together in an enterprise solution. When setting up this unit as a standalone device, you simply need to plug in power, configure the settings on the device much like an iPhone, and then mount the device using one of the many mounts that we can include. The settings on the device can be accessed either through the unit itself or from the software, and we can manage all of our sound and temperature management settings. So under detection management, we can change our threshold and we can enable our mask detection as well. When a user screens through the unit, they simply present their face. The unit will scan their temperature. It'll show normal temperature. It'll show the temperature it's measuring, as well as their identity if they're enrolled. If they're not enrolled, it will simply show a blank successfully verified. Changing the over temperature threshold is very easy. We go into our detection management and we can change our threshold to whatever we'd like. Because I don't have an elevated body temperature, I'll simply put it down lower so that I'll be over the range. So again, the user presents their face to the reader and we get a high body temperature notification. It shows that temperature on the display and then we get a failed to verify. On top of this, we can then have the speakers directly on the device prompt when an individual is over the temperature. So when they measure, we'll get a loud beep to denote that they are over the temperature.
Please slightly move forward.
And we have some verbal commands.
Please slightly move forward. Please slightly move.
Changing these settings on the device can be secured by a password, so only administrative individuals can come and change these settings. Let's go back to our detection management. I'll put my threshold back up, and then I'll enable the mask detection. This will allow us to see in real time whether or not an individual is wearing the correct PPE. So we can see here we have a normal temperature. However, it fails to verify because I'm not wearing a mask. Now, when I put on the correct PPE, we can see here that it's able to verify I'm wearing a mask, and it successfully verifies that I have the normal temperature. Now, all of this information can be reported in real time to the backend software. So we can pull live reports as well as some historical reports on all this data. We can even have this unit attached to an access control system. So when the user is within the temperature range, the door will unlock. Or if they're over the temperature range, the door will stay locked down and won't open for them. Looking at the software here, we have a live software dashboard, so we can view events as they happen. So when a user presents themselves to the reader, we have our normal temperature, but we have no mask, and that will populate down in the bottom left of the screen. On the right-hand side of the screen, we have our normal temperature, and then above the no mask, we have our abnormal temperature. So as these events are occurring, it will update in real time, providing administrators with that live view of all that information. Additionally, in this software, we have the ability to view all these historical reports, such as our temperature raw record. So this is a raw output of all the temperature data from each device, and this can include the personnel ID, first name, last name, department, whether that user was wearing a mask, and the body temperature of that user. And we can monitor the status of each of these temperature readings to know whether they're abnormal or normal. We can then view a personnel temperature schedule. This allows us to view each temperature reading for each user per day. So we can go back and view trends for temperature readings for each individual. And then additionally, we also have our abnormal temperature report, and this allows us to view all of the abnormal or over temperature range readings in a much easier to view report. All this information can be exported through Excel, CSV, or PDF.
Thank you for attending today's webinar. At Redline Solutions, we're ready to safely assist you in deploying a technology screening device. We welcome further questions, and we're here to make sure that you have a safe environment using our technology. Thank you for attending.